With Black Adam, a new superpowered being is entering the DCEU. In the comics, often portrayed as the villain, sometimes as an anti-hero, but also more recently as a legitimate hero who tries to right the wrongs he did in the past. So which one of these iterations will we meet in the movie Black Adam, where he is portrayed by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? And will we actually learn that already in his first appearance? Or will that be decided later along the line? If you want to find out, make sure to stay till the end when we enter the spoiler zone, where I will reveal this and other stuff. But for the rest of you, I will keep it spoiler free until then. Though of course I have to share a little bit to set up the basics of the synopsis, what might give a little bit away, but only what happens quite early in the movie. So if you also don't want to know that, then you should just bookmark this video and return at a later point after you have watched the movie. Everyone else is now welcome to join me for this short review video. "5,000 years ago, Kahndaq was the most advanced civilization on Earth. They all lived in peace and prosper. That was until their leader was enslaving them all and forced them to search for Eternium, magical crystals he needed to create a crown that can harness the power of demons. With Harut, a young slave boy, a hero emerges who dared to oppose the oppressors. After being captured and close to his execution, he was saved by the Council of Wizards and given the power of Shazam, which makes him the champion of Kahndaq, who then successfully freed his people. 5,000 years later, Kahndaq is still under occupation, this time from the Intergang, foreign forces that just plunder the natural resources of the country. Here we meet Adriana Thomas, a university professor and also resistance fighter, who currently is playing archaeologist, trying to find the crown of Sabak, that crown that we just talked about a few seconds ago. Right as she found the crown, it turns out that Intergang was following her. So as a last-ditch Hail Mary, she is reading out loud an inscription that she has just seen a few seconds earlier, that is supposed to free the champion who was buried in the same place as the crown. And boom, Black Adam appears and takes care of all the bad guys. As Black Adam, at this point in time still known as Teth Adam, his old name from 5,000 years ago, is killing bad guys left and right.
Heroes don't kill people.
Well, I do.
He is landing on the radar of Amanda Waller, who only sees a very dangerous creature in him and sends out some superheroes to stop him. Enter the Justice Society of America, the JSA, who here consists of Hawkman as the leader, as well as Dr. Fate, and the team freshmen Atom Smasher and Cyclone. While the JSA, who cannot stand for heroes who kill people, only sees the danger in Black Adam, the population of Kahndaq only sees their champion in him, and is hoping he is getting rid of the occupying forces. However, Hawkman claims that, through Dr. Fate, who can see the future, to have some insights that the Kahndakians don't have about Black Adam's nature and the danger he poses, which of course nobody is believing him, because they only see the Justice Society of America butting in after they were occupied for 27 years and they haven't even shown their faces once. So of course they don't trust them and of course they don't believe them. Who will turn out to be right at the end of it? And who will turn out to be ultimately the villain of this movie?
You have two paths. You can be the destroyer of this world, or you can be its savior.
Let's stop the synopsis here and I will give you a little bit more details in the spoiler zone, but only if you want to know more about the ending and what happens in the later part of a movie. Let's start with the positive aspects. Of course, the movie mainly lives from the presence of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is, as always, doing a great job here in making the character relatable and likable as much as the role allows. And Pierce Brosnan is also great as Dr. Fate.
Here we go.
The rest of the cast is solid, and I would say that Quintessa Swindell as Cyclone also was doing a good job and stood out here. The rest, of course, was also adequate. The only thing I noticed was that Aldous Hodge as Hawkman was trying too hard to speak in a deep, low voice. But I guess that is just something that people think is associated with superheroes in general and not just with Batman. When it comes to special effects, then the movie was also very well done, though some scenes were a little bit too fast and you very clearly saw that everything that was going on was just CGI. That is something that, especially in the finale, of course, was quite prominent, which seems to be a trap that DC movies always step in, and I don't really see them changing that sometimes in the future, you know? The same, unfortunately, is always true for DC when it comes to the motivation and the characterization of their main villain, but more on that in the spoiler zone. The plot overall was also decent, and there were a few moments, like in many superhero movies, especially DC ones, where you thought, okay, that could have been done differently, or okay, that seems a little bit far-fetched. And some stuff was a little bit unnecessary, but just for dramatic effect. But overall, the story worked quite well. And as I want to keep that one spoiler-free, I think that is everything I can say for the main review part. So let's get into the rating. Like I said, the technical merits were mostly convincing and the acting was well. The movie also had some very funny themes, especially around Black Adam trying to get a catchphrase, as suggested by Adriana's son, and also his quips with Dr. Fate when he tries out sarcasm, a concept that apparently 5,000 years ago was not a thing yet. The same apparently can be said about doors, because Black Adam prefers to enter and leave rooms through the wall and not through the door, not even when visiting friendly people. It was overall very entertaining and had some moments where I was thinking, okay, that is not so clever or that is not so cool, but we will cover those in the spoiler zone. However, those also impacted the score, of course, a little bit. And I can say I was struggling between either 7 or 7.5, because the movie again did not do most things very well, but it did good, but still has room for improvement. So ultimately, due to the entertainment value, I went with a 7.5 out of 10. People might disagree, and I know that I have heard that some people already thought the movie is way too political with the whole setup with the occupation and the JSA not interfering when the people needed their help. But it still makes for a very interesting concept. Because it is true, why should the people of a country trust a group of heroes that has never done anything to help them? Okay, with that being said, if you don't want to get spoiled but enjoyed this video so far, please like it now before you leave. And if you are no subscriber yet, maybe consider to change that. By also hitting the notification bell, you will get a heads up for most of my new videos. If you don't mind spoilers or have already watched the movie, then please follow me into the spoiler zone. Okay, let's start with the main issue that I've hinted to in the introduction and in the main part. Is Black Adam the anti-hero, the villain, or the straight-out good guy? Well, the answer is somehow in between. I don't want to give away everything, but let's say that he is partially a villain but does not want to be. So he needs to learn how to control himself, while also making others understand that he is not the bad guy that they see in him. If that will be more clearer in his next appearance is yet to be seen, because at the very end, and this is a larger spoiler, he is meeting Superman, who is rumored to be his adversary in his next appearance. Then if that happens, it will likely become a clash, and then after a little bit of fighting they will join forces to do the right thing. Something that basically also already happened in this one, because here Black Adam basically is also joining forces with the JSA to fight the real villain, who here is, and that is what I was calling out earlier, a very one-dimensional character whose only character trait basically is to be evil and to be a descendant of the evil king from 5,000 years ago. So this guy just wants to have the crown, and the crown, nobody really knows what power it actually gives them and why it is so attractive. But again, you never learn about the real motivation of that bad guy, because he is just there to be bad. And that is something that DC really has to learn, and that Marvel is really great in creating. Villains with depth, with a plausible motivation that often comes from a good place but is then corrupted or just leading down a bad path. There's also the thing, and this is also a major spoiler, that Dr. Fate is dying, which is a pity because it was a cool character and I would have loved to see him more. And his death was completely unnecessary because he died like seconds before Black Adam arrived, and Black Adam only arrived because the doctor was calling him. He could have easily called him a few minutes earlier so that he wouldn't have died, but again, that is for dramatic effect, I guess. It is not very clever, but at least was emotionally impactful. Then of course there is the valid question, why it was never answered, why no superhero was intervening for years, 25 years to be exact, where a whole country was put under martial law by an occupying force. I think they never put that as a topic in any superhero movie, why nobody is interfering when the bad actor is actually the leader of a country. And there of course is the usual stuff that makes you slap your own head. For example, when you see that when Dr. Fate calls Black Adam is breaking out of his prison and apparently killing guards left and right. But those guards are the good guys. So even if Black Adam is a hero that is willing to kill people, maybe he should not kill the good guys. On the other hand, those guys were all working for Amanda Waller. And Amanda Waller, if we remember correctly from Suicide Squad, is also a very ambivalent character that you could also call a villain. So is everyone who works for her then also automatically a villain? And why is she having connections to send Superman to Black Adam at the very end of a movie? And why is the JSA working with her? It seems to be completely unclear, and I really wish they would have explained that a little bit more. But maybe they do in one of the next and future movies of the DCEU. I hope I haven't forgotten anything else that was quite important to mention here. But as a last word, if you like superhero movies, just watch it, enjoy it, and don't think too much about it. What about you? What do you expect from this movie? Do you like anti-heroes, or do your heroes have to be squeaky clean? Whatever you think, just let me know in the comments. So much for now, see you next time, and thanks for watching!